Hello, welcome. 8 o'clock on a Tuesday. Steve Gosney Show. Welcome again, and thank you for being here, and thank you for the replayers, the people who replay the show, because this one might get a little replay because it's sort of an educational stream. Yeah, we will. Yeah, Wooksie's got a funny one. Be careful, you'll go blind. Yeah, so this is people have asked me about, the books and how I do them, and it's really very easy. It's not difficult. The hard stuff is writing it and marketing it or selling them. That is the difficult thing. So I will definitely do some more writing streams in the future when I get through some some other stuff. I've got well, I guess we can talk about. Let me talk about some other stuff first so that we can make sure everybody gathers in. And let's just say Belle's here, Sadie's here, um, Danielle. Hello, Danielle. Wuxie, Lily, Freedom Ring. Good to see you. So welcome all, one and all. And let me see. As far as writing goes, people don't know. I want to talk a little bit about inspiration and where the inspiration comes from. My inspiration generally comes from annoyance. Annoyance. Things bother me. Something bothers me. Now, there's also the inspiration that comes. It's like called the muse. John C. Wright, the author, who's been pretty influential on me, at least getting me going on some science fiction or fantasy writing. He calls it you must honor the muse, and that is one of the reasons I'm so scattered here is because I'm honoring the muse. This is my hobby and I'm doing it for fun. And Tony Franklin, if you might know, Tony Franklin is the bass player that I admire. And he recommended this book called Talks with Great Composers, Candid Conversations with Brahms, Puccini, Strauss, and others by author Abel. And I just started it tonight, and it's a similar thing about honoring the muse. Yeah, annoyance because things get under my craw and I want to understand them and fully understand. And usually the annoyance is telling me something. Either there's something there, so I mine it. Or usually that's my law inspiration, writing stuff for the law. So let's see. And I would also just say that my people say, well, Gosney's streaming a lot again. Well, don't criticize me because I'm a reactionary. And if you criticize me, maybe I won't stream so much, right? I'm streaming more because I'm enjoying it. I've set myself some parameters. One is this is just for fun. I'm doing it for fun. And when I get inspired, I'm not thinking about it that much. And that helps me, allows it to be fun and not work. Because if I have to think about things too much, and maybe I'll use it for advancing my next book and some ideas and discussing with you whatever's on my mind. But that's the thing. It's basically whatever I want to talk about. It's not the latest legal case that you want my opinion on. So that is, although that may come, maybe, I don't know. But if I'm going to do that, I might do that on other people's channels who are dedicated to law and that sort of thing. And if I want to do it, I'll do it over there where they have a much wider audience. You guys want to see my stuff? Well, this is my channel. I do what I want, right? And that's the way. The people that quit the YouTubes and the streaming stuff, it becomes so much work for them that, and I kind of felt that way. It was becoming work, and I was thinking it was crowding out other things that I needed to be doing. So I'm here. I'm going to stream when I want to stream. I'm going to stream about what I want to stream about. We talked about Pat Metheny last time. This is completely different. Again, I'm all over the place. So I will tell you what I'm working on right now. Yellow, orange, red. I try to, on my locals is usually where I'll announce it. I don't even know how all this works or what to do or how to post it. I don't know any of that. I just go on where I want to go on and when I want to go on. And sorry, I'm a little flighty that way, but that's the way it is. Yeah, otherwise, it's too much work, and I don't do this work. I don't know how to do any of this stuff. It's a hobby. It's fun. All right. So, but except now I say that, right? Now this book, my first book, Ideas and Answers in Law, was basically 8 years of law review articles, right? So 8 years of law review articles, and then Branca said, hey, combine them into one book, and then you'll have a product to sell. So when I go on other streams like Legal Mindset or Vices or Ricada or one of those, or Joe, then I can say, hey, Ghazni, where can they find you? What do you have to sell? Then I can say, buy a book, right? So that was all Branca's doing this year. And he's a master of the commercial. So people say that I'm always hawking the books. Part of it is that this is my hobby. This is what I enjoy doing. This is one of the main reasons I'm streaming. And I like it. It's my new hobby. I mean, I had music was my hobby for many, many years, and I'm way over invested in music. The amount of musical equipment that I have is ridiculous. So, and it's, have I made any money at all in music? No, I've made nothing at all. It's been absolutely a terrible return on investment. The books, on the other hand, have been break even for me. And going to the book fair, I found out that that's pretty good. And I'll say one of the reasons they're break even is we're going to go through it and I'll talk about it. But I've also had some big help from basically FinPat, who's Patrick Finnegan, and Let's Go Brandon. You know, he comes around and he helped out a lot. Matt himself, been a big supporter. The Vice Squad, Aussie Overlord, Steph the Alter Nerd. Those people have helped me fund the book. And Nick Ricada sold a lot of books for me, and that's allowed me to break even. I bet you can see, you know all about that. Well, actually not. I've got, the thing is that I know my guitars. You got to know what you're buying. This bass right here is ridiculous. That one I could sell. That I would never sell that. That's my number one. Never sell that one. No, you buy quality. Always buy the best. Get the best. Forget the rest. I bought my Martin classical guitar. That's another one. Well, that's another story. Oh yeah, you should see. I even did a little. I have it up here. Let's see if I have it. See, I just do little books for fun. I don't have it. Yeah, is this it? So I have this little book I did. And it's my guitar collection, what I collect and why. So it's got my guitar collection all laid out with see, it's a little mini book. There's my Telecaster, for example. Oh, I was going to show you the Martin. So I just do these for fun. This is just a off, you know, this is just for my son, and just so I have a little catalog and inventory of my guitars. Now Wuxie wants to see guitars. Well, I'll show you the guitar that I could clean up on. Okay, this is my, see that one right there? That's a Martin Classical, 1966 Martin 0018C acoustic. And I bought this for $300. Probably worth about 3,000. So I have a little guitar collection book. Not that that's not going to get published, right? Yeah, so I just write for fun. Now, the thing is that that's something I want to do. I've also got my family history. I think I might have told you this. I have my autobiography, which will be published when I die, to my son only. And if you've read Prepare, Danielle, right? Danielle, you've read Prepare. I say you should write to kind of put the past behind you. And one of all my daddy issues are on the shelf. And if anybody wants to read them someday, my son can read them on a shelf. He doesn't have to listen to me whine and complain about my daddy issues. And then I've got my aunt and uncle biographies I wrote, which is one called Evelyn's Story. And then there's one called Buster's Story. And then there's one called Marian's Story, which are all my aunts and uncles and I've written. I should probably show you those. Maybe I should. And here's, I might have Marian's Story here. I'd have to go get it. Yeah, here's Marian's Story. This was the first book I ever did. This is, again, these aren't for sale. This is Marian's Story. And this was actually a family history book of my Aunt Marian when she was a kid, and her story. Now, this was traditionally published. This was published at a printer out of Baltimore, boutique printer. And these cost, this is the thing, these things have cost Yeah, Washburns are great guitars, tougher. Yeah, that's my friend's Chris has a Washburn. My first good acoustic guitar was a Washburn, and I sold him that when I bought my Martin D16. And then I always wanted a Martin D28, HD28, but I bought the D16 because it was 800 bucks less. And yeah, why don't I go get those? Would you guys hold up for just 1 second? Let's see. You can hold on a second. I'm gonna get that. I should have done. See, this is professional level stuff. So yeah, I'll show you some other stuff. So this is family history, right? So this is Evelyn's story. That's my Aunt Evelyn and Uncle Lou from New Jersey. They were married 65 years. Look at that. So this is a story I did. That's this one here. That's Daytona Beach, Florida, right there, and that's my mama. See my mom right there on the right. Let's see right here. Yeah, that's my mom right here. Daytona Beach. So this is my Aunt Evelyn's story, and this story is a love story about their love, true story. So this is how I got started writing. I first wrote Marian's story, Evelyn's story. This is Reflections on Daytona's Museum. The early history of the Museum of Arts and Sciences, 1948 to 1973. And this is my mom. And this is me at the groundbreaking of the Daytona Beach Museum of Arts and Sciences. And so this is a story about the early history of our local museum, which is one of the best museums around in Florida. It's one of the top museums in Florida. There's my mom. So this is history. Let me see. I'll show you some other stuff. This is all. Oh yeah, this is Buster's story. So that's my Uncle Bus. And there he is with my mom. And he was a great storyteller. This one, my mom would take her to tell stories. And so let's see here. Those are some old pictures. That's my mom here on her bike. Right here. And there's my Uncle Bus again on the Daytona Beach with my mom. So this is mostly his story of him in World War II. And his growing up, and then up his service for World War II up until he met his wife. And he and his wife were married for 55 years. So we've got that. Then we've got, I'll show you, this is what we do. So this is ideas. Again, self-publishing ideas, right? This, oops, that's the wrong one. Show you this one. So when we were growing up, when my son was growing up, we did books, Stephen Cervantes Gosney, his first 2 years. So these are the best pictures we took of my son when he was a little guy. See here. So this is like, see there's my son. as a little guy. So these are family stuff. It's not stuff, but you could do that. There's my son. He was a cutie. I love he is so great. Look at this. He was such a serious kid until he got on our bed one time and he just thought that was the greatest. He had conquered the world and he got that smile. So so this is a first year. And then what we do is every 2 years, I would assemble all our pictures and I'd go through them and sort of document our early life. So we have a part 2, same thing. My wife at FSU graduating from Florida State University. And, it's a picture book and it's got stories and stuff. And then we've got part 3, the third one. There he is. Growing up pictures, right? These are all family stuff. And then this is part 4. And this is part 4 is winter 2011 through summer of 2015. So this is all books like, stuff growing up. Just give you a little hint, a little idea what it is. So fun. So that's kind of like family history stuff. That's my son growing up. So we have 4 volumes of his growing up. So you can do this too right now, but I'm going to give you some hints. These are just some ideas for things that you can write. So I have okay, then what we've got here, this is kind of interesting. So then, I don't know, maybe it's interesting for me. I'm just giving you ideas for stuff you can do, right? Oh, Excited Utterance is here. So good to see you, Excited Utterance, folks. So then we go on trips, and we always have these theme trips. So we'll go to a state like Wyoming in 2012. So this is our trip. Hey, Excited Utterance. See where we go. And then this here I got a little more educational with it. I love that picture. Look at the wheat field. Great. And so then I'd write a little story. We hit the ground running, driving through the Roosevelt Arch, the north entrance of Yellowstone. So this gives me, like, when I get home, I plan our trips, and then when I get home, I'd write a little story about what we did on the trip. And so this is like, here's the Lamar Valley. Saturday, August 4th, we took the top of the road, the 8-figure-8 through Lamar Valley. Those are pictures from that. So the next, after we kind of actually was growing up, then we started taking trips. And what we do is, so this is Wyoming. And then, let's see. And then you've got a nice little thing you can pass along, and so then he'll remember too. So when he gets older, he goes, I remember that, and then he can pull it out. So this is our winter vacation in 2013. Oh, and this was our Revolutionary War trip. So what we do is we would use our trips to like, we put a theme. So we had Wyoming, but this one here was a Revolutionary War trip, and we would use that to teach about history. And so all these things. So let me show you. Here, North and South Carolina. Brigadier Daniel Warren and Stevie, and before we went, he would help plan the trip, and we would talk about, we'd have little flip cards about these different Revolutionary War figures. And so we traveled, and then we went to Washington and Lee, of course, in my hometown, or my law school, which I loved. Oh, and there's my Aunt Evelyn. That was the last time we saw my Aunt Evelyn. I'm glad my son got to see her alive. Law of self-defense. Good, he says, what's he say here? I don't know, Steve. This looks kind of fake background story that an enemy spy would have prepared. No, really, it's just American doing American things with my family. Right, that's right. No, that's my Aunt Evelyn. Isn't she amazing? Look at her. She's putting a soft self. See there? So There's my wife being the imp. So, and this was in Pennsylvania. So this was a Revolutionary War trip that we did. And then it was an opportunity for him to learn and actually see. So, like, for example, this is really cool. The Siege of Yorktown, right? And so he actually got to see the battlefield. And so we studied it and learned. And so he knows his history. And then when he's studying, it's like, oh, yeah, I've been there. Daniel Morgan, the Battle of Cowpens, right? And then this was Utah. This was one of our best trips. Utah, 2014, National Parks family hiking trip. So, see, I got lots of, you think I'm pushing a lot of books. This is books, man. Arches was great. So there's Utah. And so every year we would do one of these trips. And it was a learning experience for my son. And it was so special. I mean, they only grow through that age once. Oh, and this was another good one. See, I haven't broken these out in a while. So you guys are helping me share. Here's Quebec City and Acadia National Park, 2015. Urban and rural family adventures, right? And again, I would write down exactly what we're doing. Day 1, Thursday, June 4th. See there? So, and part of it is not only do you see all of the stuff like what we did, what we saw. So you have pictures and story. And it helps you remember all those little details that you may forget over time, right? So this was, oh, here, no, look at that. There's Anne Evelyn again. Okay, so summer 2017, West Virginia, upstate New York, Princeton, Bridgeport, Reston. So this was the auto train, I think. I think we took the auto train. Oh, and this is my friend Mariah up at our cabin in West Virginia. I tell you about that. So we did West Virginia. I love it. There we are. There we are in the Greenbrier River. Isn't that cool? So that's Keister over there and the dog. There's our canoes in the Greenbrier River. And then we went to like here. This was the Stickley exhibit in upstate New York. All kinds of stuff. This is our White House tour with my friend, Stevie's godfather, the Secret Service agent, took us on the insider White House tour. Anyways, so that's summer 2017. This was actually my Aunt Evelyn. This was the last picture of her over here that we had together. And I remember we had lunch at the Delaware. Anyway, so that's kind of just little mementos, and you can do that. And I theme our trips. So I'm just giving you some ideas. So before we get into like how to self-publish, I want to give you some subjects. So you can write about that, your life, what you're doing, giving your ideas. It's a way to educate your children and have a trip and document it and put it together so you remember it. I haven't looked in these things in a while, but someday my son will pass this along, and these are when he was growing up, what he did with his parents, and he can talk about what he did with them. Maybe he's interested, maybe not. But I've got my family history there. And then of course there's law review articles. Yeah, Marian's Story. That's Marian's Story. This isn't that great, but so then in law review articles, like, see, this is the Journal of Appellate Practice and Law, something completely different. So if you have an academic interest, I'm sure there's journals looking for articles. So this is how I started. And we were talking about you, Branka, because how you got me started with this. So I would publish in these law review articles, Journal of Appellate Practice, Steve Gosney, right? This is the whole question, what are my chances on appeal thing, right? And like the American Journal of Trial Advocacy, there's all these law journals that are always looking for stuff. Trial Techniques for the Florida Prosecutor, a positive prescription for ethical closing arguments. This version of American Trial Advocacy. Appalachian Journal of Law. There they are right there. Identification Interpretive Testimony from Photo Video Evidence. That's with Brian Cutler. the law review articles. Yeah, this is the full law review for appellate practice on that one. So you can publish, so you can write things that are more in your academic field, maybe. In fact, the Summer Friend, Danielle, we got this one for you, right? The hardcover Summer Friend. Summer Friend is a piece of my autobiography that I did, right? This is Bronca's burning tonight. Potential liability document dozens of family vacations. Yeah, we had a great family vacations, I must say. We really had a fun time. Stevie was a great kid, and my wife's were having so much fun. Oh, by the way, Branca, I sent you an email. So you've got trips, you've got family members, you can write stories about them, you can write about your own story, you can write academic stuff. If your own story comes in, this is a little bit fictionalized. I changed a couple things around, but I've got my life philosophy is in Prepare, right? Then I've got the children's book. What else we got around here? Whatever's going on, whatever inspires you. Okay, so enough of that. So the thing is how do you write? Well, first thing is start writing. Write what interests you, what you're interested in, what are you good at? What are you thinking about? Write what you're thinking about. Just put it down on paper. Sometimes you get caught in a loop about thinking the same thing over and over again. Put it down so you can move past it, right? Start documenting like all those things about your past and your history and your life. This is what I recommend in Prepare. Write them all down and get done with it, right? My guitar collection, right? I've got a guitar collection book. It's just, I don't know where this was going, but each guitar has a little story about how I got it and why I have it and what it is. So these are all things that you can do. What do you collect? What are you interested in? I don't know. It's up to you, right? Okay, so we've got that. The first thing I want to tell you, though, is whatever you're doing, do the best at what you can do. Do the best. So, and this is I'm going to be repeating a lot of my philosophy in Prepare. But when you write an article, like when I write one of these law review articles, I pour my heart into it, and I want to say, I'm going to do the absolute best. I'm going to get to the bottom of it. I'm going to be the expert on this issue. I'm going to know it to the best of my ability. So when I get done with this article, I will have exhausted my mental capacity to go any further and to say anything more about the subject. And that's what I'm going to do. So always do your best on what you're writing. Right. And so this is one idea. Andrew's an author. Here's his book. Anybody's seen Law of Self-Defense? This is great. And this is so excellent because anybody who's got a handgun, it's the indispensable guide for the armed citizen. And I highly recommend this. This is the 3rd edition. And highly recommend this because if you have a gun, you got to read this book. And he gives them away for free. So you gotta do that. And so he's expert on self-defense law. So he wrote the book on self-defense, and then he became the expert by writing. I'm sure, and we'd have to ask him direct, but by writing it and refining it, it helps you refine your ideas. It helps you narrow, like when you write it down, you wrestle with the words to make sure it says precisely what you want them to say. And sometimes you'll find that there's an area that's foggy, that's a little rough. It's a little rough. And you'll say, well, I need to put more energy in that. I need to really think about that some more because those gaps in your knowledge will be exposed because you think you know all this stuff. Well, you might know the 4 of the 5 elements, but but there's something else here. There's something missing. And then he comes up with element number 5. That's like, oh, okay, now it's complete. So yeah, it's very, very good. All right. So that's something. Let me see. Always do your best. Now, here's another thing that I want to tell you about because people are like, this is a lot of stuff. I know I'm showing you a lot of stuff. I've written a lot but see, my job is to read and write. So all I do is read and write. That's my job. And so taking that skill set and transposing it over into these other areas is easier for me. All right. But everybody, here's the thing. And when we're talking about self-publishing a book or doing a book, when I get blocked and I feel frustrated and I feel like there's something I don't know and I've got to push forward, here's a little mental trick. I say, there's other idiots that are doing this. There's other people who are way lesser of intelligence than me, and they've done it. So what's my excuse? All right. So use that as a way to leverage. So whenever you feel like, oh, you get frustrated, I'm not going to do this. Okay. So create your manuscript. Let me see. Oh, okay. Let me see here. What am I going to show you first? What to show first? Okay. So the writing process, and I'm going to leave that a little bit aside, but this is really more topic selection, whatever it is that inspires you. So topic selection, number one, we need to do one of those little indexes for my stream now, right? Okay. So Ghazi's going to go into point 2, and that is editing. Now I can self-edit. In fact, part of my problem is it's hard for me to find anybody that can edit me, because most people, I'm better at editing than they are. And I'm not being, I'm trying not to be arrogant here, right? But most people can't edit what I write. It's just a fact. I mean, they don't have anything to add to what I do because I'm very good at writing. So I reach out. When I find somebody, I'm going to find somebody who can really add to my editing. Yeah, this rank is zinging him in tonight. So, for example, the fantasy novel that I'm working on. The fantasy novel, it's going to be a 3-book novel. So I'm going to make sure I want to do it the best that I possibly can. I'm not going to release it until I know that it's really good. All right. Now, I also know that it's the first fantasy novel I've written, and I'm not going to be happy with it ever. I'm going to need help. So I'm going to go pay an editor who I respect to edit it and really look at it. Now, I have my editor picked out. Now, whether she accepts it at the time, they've already sort of agreed, but she may not when the time comes, and the price might be too high or whatever. But that's John Wright's wife, which is Lamplighter Wright. And she's a brilliant author herself, science fiction, fantasy author. So I would like for her to edit my fantasy novel when I get it done. If not, I will go to somebody else who I respect, but she's my first choice. And I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about when I know it's not near being released. I mean, I'm a long ways away from getting released. But I'm going to show you something else. This was actually inspired by Flux, because Flux got my manuscripts. And so I'm like, I would just throw my other manuscripts out, right? So now I'm keeping my early manuscripts. So let's see here. So I've got like an early manuscript, and I've got a version, that's 2.5. Here's 3.2. It's 2.5. 3.1. To order these 3.0. 2.9. 2.4. So I've got all these old versions of my fantasy novel. See? And so I'm not throwing them away. So my latest printout is this one. So that's my manuscript for the fantasy novel that I'm working on. So just keep a running tally. So if you want to look, for example, I've got some Brucey, the One-Eyed Wonder Dog versions here. See there? So this is just a draft, and there's the pictures I've inserted in there, just to get a feel for what you're doing, to give you feel like you've got something you're doing. So what I'll do is occasionally I'll just save it when I work on it. Like right now, I moved on to my other project, Death Penalty Designs. So when I restart my fantasy novel, I'll start a new version, and so it's sort of a new break in when I'm moving forward. But finding an editor who can really add to your writing and not just check it, check it. So a good editor, yes, and law of self-defense. Good editors are crazy expensive and worth every penny. Get it to the best of your ability that you can do before you go and get an editor. Like most people can't edit what I do. My law review articles were pretty much a solo affair. Although the neat thing about putting them in a law journal is that some of them will actually give you feedback and they will check your stuff for you. So that's pretty cool. That's a service that they do when you're doing that. Sheep farm, good question. I'm thinking probably 220,000 words. I'm trying to do 3 novels at once because, and I'm at 55,000 words. So good question. And I have a lot more. And as I move forward, it keeps expanding, you know. That's a long project. That's a long-term project. All right. So editing is a big part of it. Sometimes also, and I'll say, I really want to go back. And I've got this. This Summer Friend is my least successful book. Okay. And I get it. It's very strange. It's a little short novelette. And there's actually some things in here. When I read through it the other night, I was like, I want to fix some of these things. So if I publish it, if when these get sold out, I'm not going to reprint them. But I will say that, and there's a few little things, editing things that bother me. I read through it and I'm going to fix them so that one of the things I need to do is go back and edit this and fix some things that I noticed that I do that bother me. And one of them is, yeah, I'm not a great grifter, am I? Way to grift the Summer Friend. Well, I'm just telling you, there's a few little things that bother me. Like one thing I noticed, and this comes from my technical writing background, is that I will use the same word twice. And what I'll do is, I'll say something. I don't know. I can't give you a good example here, but I'll use the same word and then I'll use the same word further down in the paragraph. And I really dislike that, but that comes from technical writing and which is where I come from. And I know why I did it, but I want to go back and edit that and fix it and make it more, little more interesting to read. A few little ticky-tacky things that bother the author, right? It's like the musician. This is the musician in me. Timeline is so easy. It writes out beautifully. It's going to go back and writing out each scene that's so difficult. Well, I find there's a lot of planning and backstory. We'll talk about this a little bit, right? One paragraph. Yeah, they're limited edition. Yeah, get them now because they won't be reprinted. They'll be highly collectible. You've got the rare Summer Friend. It's like the Boba Fett action figure from McDonald's. All right, editing. Okay, art and cover. All right, so now we're going to bookmark. Where are we now? 8:39. Bookmark this, Shane, so we can come back and add them later. Art and cover. I'm going to show you. Okay, first of all, I'll show you the first thing. This is the first book of Ideas and Answers in Law. So there is my wonderful cover from my first edition of Ideas and Answers in Law. I wonder how many of y'all have this book. Have this one. That was my layout. This is my wonderful layout. Okay. It actually, looking at it now, it really sucks, right? But there's the first edition, first cover, right? But it's still got the forward by Andrew Branca. Look at that. Isn't that nice? He did that. He's a good guy. So yeah, this is the first edition of that. I will say, this is not the definitive edition though. If you've got the definitive edition is the second one, which is this one, second edition, because this one has the prosecutor article in it, which is so important. I don't know why I took it out, except that the page count, I was trying to keep the costs down and that's one of the biggest articles in there. So I was like, I'll take that one out. But I don't know what I was thinking at the time. It was my first attempt. But I just found that's clip art. It's terrible clip art, but it's got this yellow black idea and it's an idea, it's terrible. I did the layout. It sucks. But I have this thing. The idea was there when you saw it on the shelf, you'd see it because it has the little yellow and black squiggly. And but I did the whole thing. I did the publishing. I did the layout. Now, how did I do the layouts? Oh, I'm glad you asked. It's not bad, but it's not professional. But let's take a look at. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, this is see Andrew Branca. You guys need to give Andrew a little credit because he helped me. Actually, it was Emily Branca that did this for me. Let me see, where is it? No, that's not it. Let me see. Hold on 1 minute. I'll find it. Yeah, Emily's so sweet. See, Andrew can be a pain, but Emily's sweet. Okay, so this one I researched is called Night. Okay, it's called 48-hour books. Yeah, here it is. Present. Okay, so let's go over here. Can you see that? Can you see that, guys? All right, so 48-hour books, and I'm not getting paid by them, although they should pay me. I've given them enough of my money. But there's the thing. Now, if you go up here to the top, let's just say got a little price calculator, publishing resources, self-publishing. Okay, if you go to self-publishing, look, they've got something called book templates here. Book templates. So you can go right to you can get a template that basically gives you all the formatting for your book. And then let's go to a price calculator. So, for example, I want a perfect binding. That's the soft cover design. Case binding, that is the that's hardback, and you get saddle stitch. But I go with this perfect binding, soft cover, or case binding. See, it's $10 a book more for a hardcover. You see what I'm talking about prices? So let's say let's just go ahead and price out death penalty designs right now. Okay, so I'm going to go next. So all of my books are 5.5 by 8.5, except for Brucey, which is 8.5 by 11, or it's landscape 11 by 8.5. But this is my book for that format that I like. And then I'm going to say, okay, I've got 100. Right now, I've got 268 pages of black and white in my death penalty designs book. So then you go next, and book quantity. No, this is what if you go 100 books, then I get 25 free. You see that? So there's a quick price. So that's $714. Now, if I go, but that's the raw cost. But I want to get a shipping to my house. So this will give me so it's $864 for 125 books. Okay. Now that's to get it printed and on my doorstep. Now let's do a little calculator here. Let's see how much is that per book. This is just for printing. Okay. 864.97 divided by 125 equals. So it's $6.91 a book to get it printed and shipped to me at 125 lots. Now, this is what I've been doing because you can save money. So that makes it less expensive per book. But the problem is it puts so much pressure on you because then you have piles of books that are unsold here, and that's just wasted time. All right, so let's do a price calculator, or let's change our quantity. Oops, cancel. Let's do like 25 books. And actually, I'm going to do it even less. I'm going to do 20 books because this book is I'm going to probably charge $250 a book for this book, and it's going to be case binding because I'm going to have 20 hardcover death penalty designs. It's going to be it's going to be a very small run because who wants to learn how to be an death penalty appellate lawyer? not very damn many people. Okay, so how much is this going to cost me? It's going to cost me $477. And let's see, get estimate to ship. So 477.19 equals, oops, divided by 20. So $23 a book for death penalty designs. But I'm going to charge $250 because you know how much work this is going to take? And if what I really want to do is if I sell 2 of them, I'll be surprised. So you just have to know what your market is. Okay, so let's see. Just you see that? Yeah, volume is everything in book pricing. Yeah, like nobody's gonna buy death penalty designs. It's a training manual for death penalty appellate lawyers, of which there's like what 40 or 50 in Florida. So yeah, right here. Write books because it captures your passion, not to make money. Books don't make money unless it's a tool to deliver some other product or service. Well, that's the Branca model. And I just want to break even. When I break even, I'm happy. And I have broken even, which is better than I can say for my music. Okay, so everybody's got the pricing on that. And see, that's 48-hour books. See there? And you can self-publish, and they've got the templates here. You can do hardcovers, whatever you want. I really, this company's high service, and I like what they do. Let me see if I've got and they will even send you this here. I think this is it. Yeah. This here, the ultimate guide to 48-hour books. So this gives you all sorts of like tips on how to do it. But this mostly it's samples for what your covers are going to look like, what kind of quality. All right, so that's pretty cool, isn't it? So that's what I did with all of my books. I've done that way. Ideas and Answers in Law. Copyright Police. What copyright police? None of my stuff. All of my stuff's copyright. I own the copyrights to all my stuff. Why are you going to? Is this boring? Oh, I'm sorry I'm boring you. Now let's talk about cover designs, because that's the cover design I originally ordered. This is the more recent cover. However, I will tell you that I've actually upgraded this cover. Now, there's logos, like that logo, Crime Law. Don't you think that's a pretty cool logo? I didn't design that logo. This was clip art. That logo is original for me. That is a logo. I think that's the winning logo. I'm going to show you how this comes. Prepare, the Handbook for Individual Freedom. This logo I was very particular about because this symbology means something to me. If you've read the book, the pyramid is the Maslow hierarchy. It means the arc, the golden path, the curve, the Christian fish, the individual. All of this, I want you to look at that cover and know what the content of this book is. Anybody who's read Prepare, that should be similar. Now, note that now I've got Steve Gosney, this Prepare, this is green. Let me see here. Okay, death penalty debate. I'll show you that now. So these covers, see, these are both unified. Look at that. That is a great logo, isn't it? This logo was designed by a fellow named Grok, and he's also the one that redesigned all of my covers. This logo he designed. This logo here was done by Jacob Turnbow, and he's a Jacob Turnbow. He did that logo. I think he might have done Prepare also. But this one is spectacular. I think that is the best. For if you know the content of this book, death penalty debates, net positive or net negative, and about the intersecting. And notice that I've also redesigned the cover for Ideas and Answers in Law to be consistent with these two also. I could show you that art, but once I've got so many, I've got too many Ideas and Answers in Law. And the next, what I'll do is when I when I get low on that, I'm going to write another law review article and add it and make a third edition and then make the new cover for the third edition. But that's a long way to go because I bought way too many of these and I'm not doing that again because I'm not selling books like I used to. All right. So how did I get, let's just stick with death penalty debates. And this is also an Andrew Branca tip. It's actually an Emily Branca tip. Emily Branca, who is the mind behind the brain behind the brawn. And there's this thing. I'm going to show it to you. Present, share screen. This is the company called 99 Designs. 99designs.com. Okay. So these are all of my projects that I've done. Okay. So like this is that one's. Let me see the one where I got it. Let me see the one for book covers. Okay, so here's my book cover design for death penalty debates. Abstract. I like abstract, clean, and strong. Those are sort of words that I wanted to key in. And I did this is like an auction, kind of a bidding. I had 98 designs. And Grok was the winner here. You can see his designs. There's Grok. This is some of his work that he's done for other people. This is the one that people have designed. You see now, this one actually I'm going to reuse. See this logo right here on the death penalty debates? That's going to be the death penalty designs logo. So this is similar to what the cover is going to look like for death penalty designs. But death penalty debates, see there's the logo. So what you do, so what is this site? This is a site of designers. And you can create little projects. So like, let me see, designer, or you can just browse. So this is Grok. He's my favorite designer. I found him and he's going to be my designer going forward because he's very easy to work with, very professional. I like him. See, and this is some of the logos that he's done. I love, this is what I love about him is this logo. But what am I talking about? Let's see, your work, categories, inspiration. So like, let's say you got logo identity, website, app design, business advertising, clothing, merchandise, art, and illustration. So for example, I want to find an illustrator for my packaging label, book and magazine, book cover. So here's a book cover design. You see here? Get a design. Physical book, let's say physical book. What designs do you like? And see, it'll ask you this. Or you can just go back here, or you can go designers, categories. I'm going to search for category. I'm going to go fantasy, dragon. Because my fantasy novel is going to be fantasies and dragon. Oh, see. Oops. What do I want to design? Let me try. Let me sort that. Art and illustration. See, there's a way to search. I mean, I haven't looked at this in quite a while. Okay, so you can start a contest. But you know what? I used to do the contests, and that's what I started doing was contests. So I'd have like the winning designer gets $500. But instead, what I've been doing now is home. I got to get your work designers. Find new designers. Search for keywords. Here we go. Fantasy, dragon. All right. So now you're just giving. I've got 3,000 plus designers for Fantasy Dragon. So I can start looking like which dragons do I like? There's logos. Oh, there's a pretty good one. See, like this one here. That's pretty cool. You can scroll down and see like which art appeals to you. Like that's kind of cartoony for what I want to do, but it might be appropriate for your project. Like that one's pretty cool. Look at that one. See there? And so I can actually invite them to work. I can go one-on-one. And all of these artists will design what you want for your project tied into what you want to do. And they handle all the money transaction and exchange of monies and exchange of copyrights. So when I found the Brucey book, well, I'll show you how I found the Brucey artist. But these are all fantasy dragon, different type logos and all kinds of stuff. You see that? There's like 3,000 of these. There's 100 pages of this. You just have to go through and find exactly what you're looking for. How cool is that? So you just have to, you can pay a lot. You can go to a premium designer or you can go to a beginning designer. I'll show you this. Now, there's also, here's another crazy idea for you guys. And I'm going to share it with you because you're my friends. Share screen. I'm going to go to something as basic as Google. All right, let's look at Google and let's go fantasy dragon. Oops. Fantasy dragon. All right, Google search, go to images. Now look, I've got all these images. So I can just look through and get inspired by these type images. Like, which ones do I like? And what you like, these are public domain pictures, free pick, right? You can also go up here and can you see my screen? Can you see this? Okay, you can go to tools, usage rights, Creative Commons licenses. So these are ones that are free clip art type things. Look at this one. That's pretty cool. Pretty neat. Just look around and then find, whoops. Hope I didn't cut you off. All right, so we got that. Now let me show you this. Oh, I was going to show you Jacob because Jacob Turnbow Designs, he volunteered to do some of these logos for me, and that's very kind. So I at least give him a shout out. So here's Jacob Turnbow Designs. You know what he does? He designs marching band. There he is right there. Jacob does marching band projects. So he designs marching band routines, but he also did some of my logos. So this is cool. Designer, educator, and musician. So he did that just sort of his spare time. But he does marching band design, small bands, medium, large bands. Isn't that cool? I never knew such a thing exists. That's Jacob Turnbow Designs. All right, now here is how I found Brucey the One-Eyed Wonder Dog. Well, let's go back to 99 Designs. Okay. So let's look. I'm share, invite, present, share screen, 99 Designs, share. Okay. So here's my, well, Grok actually, I got the Illustrator. The Illustrator was very expensive and not through 99 Designs. Grok did the layouts. So once I got the pictures, I had the text, I had the pictures. He put it together in the book that you see now. So he made the images and the text and all the artistic putting it together. And that cost about $500, just to give you a price. The pictures cost $2,500. Now, you can go a lot cheaper than that. There were cheaper designers, but I'm very picky, and I wanted to get the best that I could possibly get for Brucey. And you guys know it was my friends, Finn, Pat, Matt himself, Ozzy, the ones that I've named, Steph, and Let's Go Brandon, who funded the art in Brucey, which is very good art. But okay, but so once I had it, then I had him do the layouts. You see, and so these are all like layout references. See here? This is the coloring book, actually. So I self-funded this. This was about $450. See there? And then once you get it done, you download the files. That's the coloring book. Now I'm going to show you, I found like through Google and through looking at different things. One of the things, Okay, I'll show you what I mean by children's books. There's a computer line art thing that I didn't like, that I saw a lot of people doing on the children's books. And when I went to the author thing at University of Florida at the Sunshine State Book Festival, I saw there was a lot of this type of art. So let's go back to 99 Designs. I'm going to show you what I mean. Share screen, 99 Designs. Find a designer. And I'm going to go children, dog. And then I'm going to go art and illustration. So here, these are all children's art or dogs that I can look at. Okay, some of these are like logos. A lot of logos. So here's one. See that one? It's pretty good. Let's look at some like this one. That one's pretty good. Isn't that cool? So you can look for things that like, okay, this is what I like, this type of thing. That's pretty good right there. That might be a good one. So I like that one, right? So I could give that one a thumbs up. And you can learn about this fellow, Milo. So he's a top level designer. So here's some of his artworks that he's done. About, see there, I know. So you could look at reviews. And then I can say, okay, I can message him. I can invite him to work. See there, that's 99 Designs. And 99 Designs handles all the money transactions. And I really like it in the copyrights. All right, so you see this. I'm not paying attention to chat. If you really want to get my attention, super chat, because I'm not paying attention. Yes, and I like, okay, like this one. I do want to geek out about the fantasy story. I want to give you something really cool that you can. I don't want to reveal too much, but on the other hand, I do want to share it. It's just not. It's not ready for prime time yet, but it's so cool. Death Penalty Designs mug, funny. Yeah, you can do the mugs and stuff like that. I haven't done that. All right, so here's how I found the designer for Brucey. Is I found this book, and it's called Lilo the Pug. And I looked at this one, and I love the eyes of this one. I love the art. You see here? There's the dog. There's Lilo the pug. Look at that. Doesn't the dog have great expression? And it also has this traditional watercolor look. See there? And this is under Behance.net. Behance.net is another place that you can get artists. I just love this one. We're both really worried. So this is a story about the pug. And look at the eyes. See, and that's one thing. Brucey, the one-eyed wonder dog, his eyes are everything. And I wanted this traditional classic kind of watercolor look and I didn't want it to be a lot of people. I wanted to be focused on the dog, simple for children. Look at that. Is that wonderful? So this is Marina. So I click over here. And here's some of the stuff that she does. Look at this. Lilo the pug, all right? So now she's expensive, I will tell you, but she's excellent. And I wanted, this is what I wanted out of Brucey. I want something like that. I don't want little black beady eyes. I want Marina. So I hired Marina to do Brucey. Okay, you got that? All of this, if you have Brucey the One-Eyed Wonder Dog, if you have the book, I definitely name the people and I give you the how to locate them. All right. Now, Marina, I will tell you, is an author. She's written these two books, Watercolor Animals and Watercolor Success in 4 Steps. So these are some watercolor books that she does. So she's a traditional watercolor artist. Now, when you work with her, there's something called character development. Oh, and you guys, now you've hung out, right? You've hung out. This is only for us book geeks. I'm going to show you something cool. You want to see I'm working on, I've already paid for it. And again, Jackson, My Difficult Dog is going to be a difficult book because, again, I'm going to use the same designer and she's very expensive. All right. So at some point in the future, I'm going to call upon you to help me fund it. Not yet because I'm not ready, but I can tell you that I've already got an artwork. Well, I got an artwork layout of Jackson. So I'm going to show you this. The first things first. Hopefully I didn't log out. Where's this thing here? Okay, present. Share screen, Windows. So what I did is I sent her my pictures. Can you see this? So this is the real Jackson, My Difficult Dog. Can you see that? So I sent Marina the pictures of My Difficult Dog. There he is, Jackson the Difficult Dog. You know Jackson, there he is. Look at that look. That's Jackson right there. What a jerk. Can you see that? Oops, wait a second. Did you see my pictures? No, I'm not. It's not coming up. Hold on. Present. Stop. Present. Share screen. Yeah, okay, here we go. There he is. There's Jackson. So, yeah, he looks cute, doesn't he? There he is. You know Jackson, My Difficult Dog. Okay, that's Jackson. So I sent Marina Jackson to turn him into, and look, that's his look right there. Give me a treat. That's all he cares about. Is the treats over there yet? There's the Christmas dog. Yep, you can give me a treat now. So this is Jackson. All right. There's Jackson. What? Someone's in the kitchen. I might get a treat. There he is, like, I'm tied up, but I'm near the treat bowl. So this is Jackson. All right. So now you guys have hung out. You guys have watched this long. Oh, Danielle, I'm glad you're here. All right. So now we're going to see what Marina has done so far. I've paid her already to do character development, which is $200. And here is her pictures. Can you see that? So this is Jackson. So there he is. He heard something. There he is barking. There he is asking for treats and sitting. And there he is pulling on something. Now, I will say the bottom left, asking for treats and sitting, I'm going to go back and say, that dog is too happy. That is not Jackson. Jackson's a pain. He doesn't look at you like with happiness. He looks at you like, give me the treat. I'm in charge here. Don't you know your job is to give me a treat? So this little smiley face. And now I'm sort of torn because do I want it to be the real Jackson or do I want it to be the cartoon fantasy Jackson? I'm going to try to get it as real, as close to Jackson as possible because it's also a memoir of My Difficult Dog, right? So far, she sent me these mock-ups. And I'm going to have her, make this a little more serious face on the asking for treats. A little more grumpy, a little grumpy cat, right? Ronan, right? You got it. So that is a preview of My Difficult Dog. Okay, so that's going to cost $200, which it's no problem. That's character development. And then each sequence, I think, is each plate is $2,500 for all of them. So it's probably going to be the same for My Difficult Dog. So this gives you an idea, and this is why the children's book is a whole different deal than these books, because these books, I do all the content, I did all the layout, I did everything, and then I just uploaded it to 44-hour books, and they print them, and so I've done everything front to back on the other books. On the ones with the illustrations, I want to do the best. I want to have to always do your best, and so those cost a lot more money. That's a lot of out of pocket. So if I can get it fully funded, it'll be $3,000. I'll get My Difficult Dog for next Christmas. So I've got kind of I've got the book written. I'm getting the character development, and once I've got to give. Okay, let me show the give, send, go. All right. So, and this is all how I'm going to get it funded. You guys are getting the full inside track here, right? I've got more. There's more to this. I've got more to go. So I need you to stick with me. All right. And then we'll get into some questions. Okay. So can you see that? There's steveghazi.com. Okay. If we go to friends, there's my difficult dog. Make the children's book. So I've got $150 towards $3,000. Can you see that? Yeah. And actually the whole book here's the full text of the story here. And it's all biblically based. And here is the biblical quotes the story follows: Genesis, Luke, John, Psalms, Psalm, John, Corinthians, Luke, Ephesians. I love Ephesians, John, and Romans. And each one of these paragraphs is going to have an illustration. So meet Jackson. Jackson came to us from the shelter. God gave him to us to love, and we loved him. So that's our first quartet. Jackson wanted a home, and we wanted him. We're so happy. He moved right in with us and became part of the family, and we love him. Jackson's fluffy and cute, and he tries hard to be good, but he can be a difficult dog, as he is imperfect. Jackson begs for food from our table. Stop begging! Jackson does not listen, but we love him nonetheless. He chews up our napkins. You have made a mess. We clean up bits of paper, but we love him nonetheless. Jackson runs away. Jackson, Jackson, we call. He finds his way back when he chooses, but we love him nonetheless, right? You know what that story is, right? Biblical stories. These are all biblical stories. He scratches the furniture. Stop that, we scold. Jackson does not understand our ways, but we love him nonetheless. He howls at night. Oh, go to bed, Jackson. Jackson decides when to be quiet, but we love him nonetheless. So those are the Jackson quotes. Now here's the parenting parts. We look over you. You bring us joy. We know you're not perfect, but we love you nonetheless. And then here's God. God looks after us. We bring him joy. We are not perfect. We are just us, but he loves us nonetheless. And then here's all the biblical quotes that will be in the back so that you can key those into the story. So that's my difficult dog. But you see the sequence. All right, so we've got 99 designs where you can get your artwork. 48-hour books is how you print them. Logo design. I use Grok. Grok is awesome. And he's redesigned all these covers so they have this strip. See there? Does a good job. He did all the cover art. Oh, okay. So now we've got barcodes and ISBN numbers and converting these babies to ebooks. All right. So let's talk about that. I'm going to show you another one, which is called ISBN services. Now, what this allows you to do, here he has services, custom ISBN numbers and barcodes, and then ebook conversions. So you can send your book to him, and it's not that much money, but you can get an EPUB. He'll give you all these formats, get a free estimate, delivery 24 to 72 hours. So this will take your book and convert it into ebook formats, as well as get you your ISBN numbers. Now you can also he'll generate the barcode and the ISBN. You can also have that done by 48-hour books. But the nice way of doing it, ISBN services, is that, here it is right here, is that he does the ebooks too. And I like that. So now, okay, I'm going to show you something else. And you're getting the real inside stuff. No, it will not convert your book to Judaism. Good joke, though. Let's go back to I really like 99 designs. That's cool. And you can get artwork done and logos done and anything you want like that. You can get them people to lay out the books as long as you're specific in what you want them to do. Between them and 48-hour books, you're in business, aren't you? I want to go back to 48-hour books. I'm going to show you something very personal here. Don't tell anybody I'm showing you this, all right? Present. Okay, so here, can you see that? This is my account. So like here's my coloring book right here. So all I have to do to reorder my coloring book is just click reorder. And I can do an exact reprint or reprint with changes. And I can say exact reprint. And I just say, how many do I want? 10 book minimum, 100 or more, I get 25 free. So if I go 10, that's $20 a book. See, so and if I want it shipped, 32174. See, this is why it doesn't make sense to order smaller amounts. $180. Oh, to be determined. Here's what let me do. I can't, that's not going to work. But that's $200. That's I'm selling them for 19, so I'd be losing money on books. So I can't order that small amount of books. You see, this is why there's pressure on book sales, right? So I'm going to change my quantity. Let's go to, instead of 10 books, let's go to 25 books. See, now we're more down to 25.90. Okay, so that's better, right? Next. Or 25.59. Get estimate. So here we go. So $260 for 25 books. So that's about $11 a book without shipping. All right, so you get that? So this is where there's not a lot of money here, right? There's not a lot of money. And I think I ordered 25 of these, so 25 of the coloring books. Now I did this because I want the Brucey books to all be hardback. The Brucey books are all hardback, and they're all the top quality. I use, like, when you go through there, you can select the top quality paper, top quality everything, which I did. And then I had a soft cover version, which is cheaper, but it's black and white. You see, that affects the cost. So this is a lot less, but it's still $12 a book to produce. That's just printing and shipping. That doesn't include shipping labels, mailing, postage, or anything else, shipping and handling, go into the thing. So it's not like there's a lot of money in this, but make a few dollars per book. All right. So you just have to work out the things, but you've got the tools there. So that's how to do that. Let me see okay. Art cover cost publishing. Diana Designs. ISBN services, Josh Pritchard, who helped me. Jacob Turnbow, Prepare Logo. We got Grok. We got Marina. 99 Designs, 48-hour books. So my question to you is, there's a lot of people that have done this. Why not you? You can do this, right? Look at all the ideas here, and you can come up with something. All right. I haven't looked back. I haven't keeping track of the chat at all. I'm sorry, guys. You know how much I love the chat. So I'm going to go back and look and see if there's anything that's, well, audio recording is a little different. You can get it paid for audio. I'm a musician, and I have a friend who has a studio. That cost me $500 to do the audio version of Death Penalty Debates, as well as the audio version of Prepare. Those you can get from my thing. Those are very professionally done. Oops. But that's a whole lot different bag. I know how to do that, so I read them as an author. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, thank you, Becca. This is the best stream ever. You think so? Thank you. Yeah, it's the fantasy story. I'll tell you, I love the fantasy story. Oh, let's talk about what I'm doing here. Yeah, we're live. Oh, so let me show you. Okay, I'll give you a couple more. Like the Summer Friend. This is one of my favorite covers. It's one of my favorite covers. Let me see. Yes, I was a surfer. This is a mostly true story about growing up in Ormond Beach, Florida, and that's me with my orange surfboard. If you read the book, you'll know. But I love this cover. Grok did this cover, and I think it is perfect. Look, the cloud is a guitar, the surfing, the orange surfboard, and a cover with my summer friend looking out. And look, there's the record is the sun. I think he just did great. And see this new thing. Yeah, I love this cover. I think he did a great job on the cover. So Grok is my artist going forward. And now I just work one-on-one. Once you find your guy, do you like the summer friend, the content or the cover? Because I love the cover. I'm not selling it good enough, am I? It's a sweet novelette. Download it. Very good cover, isn't it? So what I'm working on now is I'm working on death penalty designs. Death penalty debates. No, I did not do an audio of it. I was thinking about what I might do is do the audio of that. Next time I go in the studio, I'll do the audio of the summer friend. I'm going to clean it up. There's a few things I want to tweak with it. And then I'll do the audio book. It'll be downloadable, ebook only. It won't be printed. And then what I'll do is also do the fantasy novel audiobook. Oh, cover, the content, Slidey Pie. Thank you very much. She really likes it. Yeah, I mean, artists are critical about their content. I mean, it's worth putting out there. It's a very subtle story. The Summer Friend is a very subtle story about growing up. And we all live in this time when you leave childhood behind and you enter this new world of not adulthood, but you leave childhood behind. And there's that moment when those childish things become less interesting and you develop new friends. And that's such an important part of your life. And these friends come into your life and they make a disparate impact. Like my friend Andrew here really taught me about music, but we drifted apart, and it's like, how do I look on that friend? Was he somebody that I resent now or hate because he's not my friend anymore or whatever? Or do I look back and fondly and say, he gave me a gift, the gift of music and surfing and growing up. So this is a book. It's a very kind of subtle book about growing up and those friends that you make when you enter adulthood and the opposite sex starts looking good and things that aren't childish anymore. The toys in your toy room aren't so exciting anymore, but all of a sudden things like cars and chicks and surfing and music, those things start drawing your attention. It's a novelette. It's a very quick, easy read about growing up, simple, visual, and it's mostly true, actually. So Danielle likes it. She says, but she likes my stuff. Danielle's my fan. Really sweet. It will put you there in the moment Steve is growing up. Yeah, it's a moment in time. It's a novelette. It's worthwhile. Get the ebook. The ebook is available. Everything's on stevegosney.com. All right. So what I'm working on now, what I want to work on is my fantasy novel. That's what I want to work on. But I am, as you all know, I'm a death penalty qualified appellate lawyer. That means that I have to argue the death penalty in the Florida Supreme Court now and into the future for the next 10 years of my life is taken over. They pay me to do this because, believe me, I wouldn't do it voluntarily. It's a very miserable, difficult, unpleasant subject matter. That's why I want to escape into my head. But this book was to get the public policy arguments clear in my head. My office, as you know, I train all of our attorneys in the appellate office on how to do appellate briefs. And I do that because nobody taught me. Well, actually, Stephanie Park taught me. Okay, but Stephanie Park was organized. But there was no organized training program for appellate attorneys when they came in. So I took it upon myself to create a training program for incoming appellate lawyers so that we'd all have a grounding. We'd be walking off the same page. We'd get up to speed quick. And so I did that for my office. And I have a whole class that I teach. It's a day-long class that every attorney who comes into our office takes. It's called the appellate boot camp. Well, when I got into death penalty stuff, there's been no training at all, zero. And this is the most complex subject I've ever had to deal with in my life. And there's nobody there to help. Now we have some senior attorneys, but they're close to retirement and they don't want to train me. And nobody can teach me this stuff. It's so complex and difficult. So I take it upon myself. I write to think. So I am developing a manual to train others of how to do death penalty appeals. Like I said, there's probably 50 people in Florida that want to do this. Now, it's going to be federally driven, but directed towards the Florida statute. But the federal case law review will be helpful to anybody dealing with death penalty in Florida who's an appellate lawyer, maybe trial. So what I've set out to do is give an overview of the death penalty, structure of the death penalty in Florida. I will then I'm going through every U.S. Supreme Court case since 1972, Furman v. Georgia, to the present time, U.S. Supreme Court dealing with the death penalty. And I'm going to be reading through every case. I've got them all printed out. There's 167 cases since 1972 on the death penalty in the U.S. Supreme Court. So I printed them all out. I'm going to go read them through one by one. I'm going to edit them so that there'll be a chapter on each case, I expect. Each most significant case that's relevant to today for appellate attorneys. And then there's going to be a chapter on those cases that I select from the 167 that I read. I'm going to not put them all down necessarily, but I will have a huge notebook that will summarize all the U.S. Supreme Court thought from here to there. And then part 3 of that book will be specific attacks on Florida's death penalty statute and why it is unconstitutional given that background. So it's a 3-part book, and it's a training manual for death penalty appellate attorneys, and it's going to be called Death Penalty Designs. And you saw my friend Grok has already got the cover designed, but because I have to do that for my job, so it's sort of a dual purpose. I'm doing that for my own sake so that I'll be the expert on it because nobody else is training me. So I'm using this time for the next month to train myself. And at that time, I'll be drafting this book and making this book. It's going to be a huge, thick compendium. I'll maybe make 10 of them. If I sell 2 to anybody for $250, then I'll have made my goal. It'll be a break even. It'll be on there for $250. You can buy the other ones. It'll be limited edition. But the fact that somebody would want to know it, it's a very narrowly focused, but it's good because it's focused on what I need to do for my job and for my own self for the next 10 years. Once I get that out of the way, then I can go back to playing in the fantasy novels. So that's up next. What else we got? Let's see. What should we do? Do you want to raid somebody? You would think, but it's, marketing is a whole. This is not about marketing. It's not about writing. I would love to teach you about writing. I did do a writing stream somewhat on the fantasy novel. If you want to go back, we did it together. That was pretty fun. And law classes, I was thinking about doing, well, I haven't talked to Andrew about this, but I was thinking about doing with American law courses, a death penalty masterclass that would be based on death penalty debates and death penalty designs. And those would be the 2 textbooks. And we would go through them incrementally ad nauseum for somebody who really wants to know the death penalty inside and out. So I was thinking about that, but I don't want to commit to that because this project is huge and it may never be finished. Although the way I work, I'm expecting to get it finished at the end of the month. So, but if I can't, we'll see. Yeah, so go check out the Creative Writing Stream. So let's see, who are we going to see? Who's live? Who should we let's give you some selections. We got Aussie. We should send it over to Aussie Overlord, right? Yeah, or potentially criminal. You want to go to Aussie Overlord is doing New Hampshire versus Adam Montgomery, Murder of Harmony Trial Day 4. And then we've got Afro Man lawsuit update by potentially criminal. let's see, which one? Potentially criminal or Aussie overlord? Well, you know what? He's a good guy because he helped fund Brucey. So what I want you to do, here's what we're gonna do. When we raid Aussie, you gotta say Aussie, Ghazi raid, and then thank him for helping fund Brucey the One-Eyed Wonder Dog. What do you think? I think that's pretty nice. I think we should do that. All right, so are we on board with that? Okay, let's see here. I got to figure out. This is studio stuff. You got to go over here. Oh, one more thing I was going to tell you while I'm doing this. Content. Live. So we know what we're going to do. Okay, Aussie customization. Redirect. Okay. So when we redirect, we're going to go to Aussie, and I want you to say, Ghazni raid, right? And say, thank you for helping fund Brucey to Aussie, because we got to send the message to Aussie because he's such a nice guy, and he helped me. He helped make it. It was such a brilliant thing. Oh, one more thing I'll say that's that tonight there's going to be a rocket launch from the Cape. I'm going to go look at it at 11:54 p.m. and it's going to be a moon launch, not a manned moon launch, but the it's going to be an unmanned moon launch. But my son's math tutor named Jamie is working on that. We're going to go to dinner with her on Thursday. She works for Boeing Satellites now, and she is part of that launch. And so she's down here to watch the launch. So my son's math tutor is going to be part of that thing. So we got to pray for that launch to be successful. All right. God bless. Now, what are we going to do? Aussie, we're going to say Ghazni raid, and they're going to say thank you for funding Brucey, right? Thank you for funding Brucey, because Aussie was a big part of it. Him, Finn, Pat, and them. But what we're gonna thank Aussie for being such a stand-up man, and maybe we can sucker him into to help fund Difficult Dog. All right. See you later, guys.